Welcome to the ATX Pest Podcast, episode 17, Inspection. So, inspections are very important in pest control. It is arguably the most important. I think it's the most important, personally, aspect of our step in the process, right? It starts off with the inspection. And I don't mean just relying. Here's the issue. Companies, pest control companies, so-called quote-unquote professionals, rely too often on just what the customer is reporting to them. That's really valuable information, and we definitely want to hear that from our customers. You know, feedback, like where you're in the home as a homeowner, you're there 24/7, right? Well, unless you leave for work 8 hours a day or so, right? But you live there, you're there every day. Okay? We are not. Pest control is going to spend, on average, 20 to 30 minutes at a home doing a quarterly, bi-monthly, monthly service, whatever it may be, a few times a year, 4 to 6 times a year on average. If you're a monthly, because you're really, freaked out by bugs and you want the best results possible, well, it's more frequency. Maybe you have your pest control provider. We have some monthly customers at my company, just because of challenges or whatnot. And so anyways, but that's limited time that we're spending there. And from the initial communication, meaning you're reaching out to get a quote from a couple of pest control companies, usually 2 or 3, right? We've never been to your property. We don't know. All we have to go on over a phone is what you're reporting to us, or through email or text, so however the communication is going that you're trying to communicate with a company to get a quote. And for instance, I just had one this morning. Lady says, well, I've been having spiders and carpet beetles. And I said, are you sure you have carpet beetles? She replied a day later, but she finally replied this morning. It was yesterday afternoon. She replied just a little while ago, and she said, Damien, that's a good question. I'm not sure if I have carpet beetles. And I'm going to have her send me a picture, because she asked, can I send you a picture? Sure. And I'm going to try to recommend, that we get out there and do a full inspection on her property before I go sign her up on anything. But at the same time, I can get an initial, I'm getting the conversation going, right? So, but at the same time, maybe I'll be able to get a positive ID. Sometimes pictures are difficult. It's best to get a sample and be there in person and get it under a jeweler's loom or whatever, and get it magnified and be able to take a very close look, because that's oftentimes the only way you're going to get an exact positive ID on whatever species that you're dealing with. Beetles are among the order of insects called the Coleoptera. They're the largest species that we have. So there's just a numerous amount of different types of species of little similar looking beetles. So they can be difficult to identify, especially over a picture. So anyways, I posed the question. I said, well, are you sure? Well, she's not, which I figured so. That's no offense to her or anyone else, any customer that we have or anyone that calls in for a quote. You don't do it for a living. If you knew what it was and you knew how to take care of it, you probably wouldn't be calling us. You'd probably just take care of it on your own. And even if you did, A lot of times you don't have time. You know, I can figure out things how to fix things on a vehicle or something, or a washer or dryer. Sometimes I do it, and sometimes I don't. When it comes to vehicles, I have learned that I don't have the patience for it, but I'll hire someone to do that. Leave it to the professional, and that's for the most part always true with pest control too. Just leave it to the professional. You often end up spending more money and wasting your time and energy on it, and it gets frustrating, and you end up having to call one anyways. So um, that's always best to do that. And this is one of those situations. Leave it to the professionals, not only just because of the result aspect, but to do it safely. Okay, you're not trained to do it safely. You may not understand how to use the proper equipment or everything, and that can pose a danger to yourself and your family and whatnot. So um, that's something that's I highly recommend is if you are going to do it, you better darn well be sure that you know what you're doing. Okay, read labels, get advice. Not all advice is good advice on Google, right? Or YouTube. There's a lot of idiots out there. So just be careful. That's all. That's the number one, always the number one thing that we care about at our company is safety for the employees and our customers. So that's number one. But back to the meat of the conversation is inspections. There is a numerous amount of times we go to a home and discover issues that they're having that they had no idea. Okay, when we come and go into a home to do an inspection, we're number one gonna obviously have the introduction with the customer, have a brief conversation. They're probably gonna show us some stuff. And they're gonna tell us, I've seen a spider here, and they want to they want to go through the whole house and show them exactly where we get it. Okay, you have some spiders. You have this going on. All right, sounds good. That gives us a little bit of understanding what they've been seeing at least, and what number one, most importantly, what are they concerned about? What's their hot button? What's the reason they called us? So now that from a business standpoint, now we can understand our customer a little bit. They may have seen a couple ants or something outside that didn't really spark them to call us, but they seen a few spiders, and I can't deal with this now. So that's their hot button. That's good information. Okay, so from there we're going to do a very thorough interior and exterior inspection. And what we're going to be looking in the interior is wet areas underneath sinks, inside the home, obviously in all the rooms, but also very importantly in the attic. Most companies won't even go in the attic. We're gonna take a peek up there, see if we see anything going on up there. Make sure you don't have any wildlife or rodent activity, any droppings, any tunneling going on in the insulation. These are all things that we discover quite frequently. And unfortunately, they had no idea that they had these issues going on. Okay. And on the outside of the home, oftentimes we might even find termite activity. It's not as frequent, but it happens. We do find tunneling. We do find damaged wood. We find ants trailing on the house outside that they had no idea that they had, because they just haven't seen them. They didn't make their way inside quite yet. They just didn't see them. And so that, maybe that's concerning to them, but it's something that needs to be addressed. Maybe they have a large wasp nest, some wasp nests on the eaves or in the fence or inside a dryer vent, and that reminds me of this too. Maybe they got a gas leak. Maybe you have a clogged gutters. These are the type of things that we discover all the time for folks and that's not even pest related. Clogged gutters can cause pest issues, but a gas leak is not pest related. But hey, it smells really strong, around your meter. We have found that numerous times. Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm going to call somebody right now and they get it fixed. These are all good things. Okay. Um, hey, you got staining really badly, like water stains on your home, on your foundation right there. You're having a lot of conducive, a lot of pest issues going on here, and this type earwigs or some really moisture-driven type pests going on. Well, your sprinkler heads need to be adjusted away from the home. You're drawing them. You're creating moisture in this area. That's no bueno, right? You have trees touching, overhanging, overgrowth, shrubs that need to be trimmed. This is contributing to your issues. You got stagnant standing water. You got a drainage issue, clogged gutters, like I mentioned. You got acrobat ants breeding in there. You got mosquitoes using that as a breeding site. You got a lot of leaf debris, which is contributing to harborage areas for American cockroaches. I mean, there is so many things that we look at and can discover for you on. And at my company, we do a free home inspection and property analysis for you for free. We might be at your home for 30 minutes to an hour of our time for free, doing this inspection, trying to win your business, of course, but doing the right thing and by doing a thorough service, not just saying, well, yeah, we got this deal going on. We're going to charge you, X amount of dollars, $100 to get started, $120 per quarter or whatever it is, whatever the price rates are. And we'll go ahead and take care of all that when we don't even know what the hell you got going on at your house. So guess what? Those companies that do that all the time, guess what they do? They get the lowest rates, and when they get to the house, they discover all these issues and then they backpedal themselves, and they're like, "Oh, whoa, hang on a second, I can't do this for that." And so then guess what? Their pricing changes. Or they stick to it, but then they try to say, well, we don't cover this, we do this and do that. And they start nickel and diming you. It happens way too often. Matter of fact, a lot of those type of companies out there do that on purpose, just to get their foot in the door. Okay? At my company, I'm trying to put my foot in the door too. I'm giving something away for free though, and then I'm going to go there, we're going to inspect everything. We're going to discuss it. We're going to know exactly what's needed. We're going to identify all the pests and maybe conducive conditions like leaf debris and clutter and things of that nature, door seals maybe that need to be addressed. And then we're going to draw a line in the sand, and you're going to make a decision on what plan you want to go with that fits your needs and your budget. And that's how a pest control service, quite frankly, should be sold. So some food for thought there. With that said, if you're looking for a pest control company, or you're unsure of, or if you unfortunately signed up and you're with one of those type of companies, give me a call, 512-588-2998. I am glad to set up a free home and property inspection analysis for you, free of charge. We'll come out there, identify all those things that we discussed, present you with a couple options, and it's up to you from there. Okay? Feel free to reach out to me, even if you just have a question. I appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. Please stay tuned to next week when I do episode 18. Y'all be good.